All right, good afternoon. Welcome everyone. My name is Robin Eland. I'm the Executive Director for Downtown Santa Barbara. I'm so excited to have you all here for our next edition of the Downtown Business Spotlight. My co-host today is Matt Kettmann, a longtime senior editor at The Independent. He covers mostly food and wine and so much more though. And so Matt is going to be hosting today's show. We have two amazing companies as guests, Guido, Elaine, and Alberto, but I will let Matt properly introduce. Thank you so much all for being here. I'll let you take it away, Matt.
Great, thanks, Robin. Yeah, as Robin said, I'm Matt Kettmann. I'm a senior editor for the Santa Barbara Independent. Been there since 1999, and also write for Wine Enthusiast magazine and do some other things here and there, and have done a bunch of these shows now. And we were not joking, but talking before the show about how we didn't think this show is going to go on that long, but here we are, and it remains a popular thing and a great way to learn about businesses in Santa Barbara. And so we try to have a theme to each episode as much as we can. And this week's theme is Italian eating downtown. And so we have some of the pioneers of that in modern times. We have Elaine and Alberto Morello from Olio and Limone and the whole Olio family of restaurants. We're going to talk about everything they're doing. And we have Guido Oppizzi from OPPI'Z, which is a newer restaurant on State Street. And I realized as we're getting ready for this that I actually have like neighborly connections to both of these. So Elaine and Alberto opened in November of '99. I started working at the paper in September of '99, and we were basically in the same Victoria Court neighborhood. So I got to know their place early on. And I've come to become a fan of a lot of their places, including Olio Pizzeria. I used to eat there all the time. And then the Bottega, which they opened during COVID, is really kind of a cool place that I got to write about and hang out with Alberto a couple times there, which was a lot of fun. And then Guido actually opened OPPI'Z right around the corner from our last office of the Independent, which is on Figueroa Street there. So he was right around the corner, and I know a lot of my colleagues were eating there quite a bit. And we ran some stories about his place over the years too. So going to be great to learn about more of their backgrounds and all of that. So first of all, let's start with Elaine and Alberto. They've been here since '99 and have connections that go back even deeper than that. So Elaine or Alberto, do you want to explain your backgrounds and how you decided to open an Italian restaurant in Santa Barbara and grow it into a mini empire?
So, thanks for having us.
Hi, good afternoon.
Well, I had been here at UCSB, left in '89, met him down in LA working at Celestino Restaurant. Took about 10 years to get back here, but finally got back in '99 when we found our location. At the time, it was 40 seats. Where Olio Limone currently is, where we're sitting right now, was actually part of the kitchen. So we got to expand it 3 times over the years, including taking over the original Arigato Sushi spot, which is now our cucina room, the private dining room that's also general dining for Limone. And then we built out the Pizzeria 2010. And then Olio Crudo Bar 2016. And then that, of course, during COVID, we weren't able to operate out of that once reopening. And we
decided to change it to a sandwich, focacceria, panineria, deli with very fine gourmet items and more.
Something real quick, something that's fun tidbit about Olio Limone. When we were just building our future together and working and running other restaurants down in LA and Orange County, there was a place we used to go for Sunday brunch, and we wanted to order a whole branzino. And the chef was Italian, had always done it nicely, simply. But one day he comes out with all this garlic and chili flakes and tons of herbs. And next time we went, we explained to the Italian server, dillo chef, solamente olio limone. Olio e limone, basta. So
that's how the name basically comes out.
Oil and lemon, simple.
Implies simplicity, and that's what Italian food is all about. Very few good ingredients without to masquerade the product too much. So
Right.
And it's also olio limone. It's one of the main type of ingredients that people eat not only in Italy but all over the Mediterranean. Either there is some steamed broccoli or a piece of swordfish or a steak or anything, lettuce and tomato. Olio limone, it's always one of the staples that we use a lot.
Right. And Alberto, your accent is not from Los Angeles, right? Tell us about your background and where are you from?
I'm Italian, Sicilian. I was born and raised there until I was 22 years old. And then I left and I went to work in Northern Italy, Florence, Savona, and then I ended up in England, in Cambridge, which in the winter I was going to City College. And then down the road, I ended up in California.
And always working as a chef?
Yes, I've been working in the front of the house as a young stage, but then in my middle stage, whatever we call it, and then I started working in the kitchen. Yes.
Right. And then Olio, I mean, across your different concepts, you're basically able to explore all of Italy, essentially, right? I mean, you have representations from all over the country, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, Olio Limone is basically an Italian menu from the south to the north. You know, we have dishes from North Italy, south of Italy. That's what, you know, customers also expect, you know.
And definitely touches of Sicily where he's from, you know, things like caponata, you know, the Sicilian ratatouille,
Eggplant souffle.
eggplant souffle. A lot of the seafood is inspired by, you know, Sicilian type preparation. Very simple.
Well, you know, that's the touch. We have the spaghetti with tuna raw, the bottarga. A lot of dishes are more like with the Sicilian touch, but generally the restaurant is an Italian restaurant. People know that.
And Alberto, did you grow up in a restaurant family? I mean, was culinary part of your upbringing or no?
Well, my mom was all cooking like home style, but nothing fancy. My dad was cooking differently because he lived in Tunisia for a while, although he was Sicilian, but which, you know, he left me when I was 14. So pretty much, but I've always been, in Italy we say, una buona forchetta, which means a good fork. A good fork means somebody that enjoy good food and appreciate good food. So by working in the hotels and the restaurant, because I've been with no bar, beach places, little cafe, all my life I've been working in different type of restaurant environment. And it's the eye that catch something that appeals to me first, but also most customer. You know, that's what it's all about.
Right.
But it's just like an expression, like a painter, like anybody that does what they like for other people to enjoy. That's how it.
And Elaine, you went to UCSB, but where are you from originally? And then how did you go right from UCSB into restauranting?
No, so I'm originally from LA and went to school here for college. And I'm Swedish American. I've great grandparents, but we're American family. My grandmother was an amazing cook, almost cordon bleu trained, but just for passion. So that was a little bit of my growing up inspiration and exposure. But I wasn't running restaurants yet, but a lot of my friends had them. Pietro Bernardi back before he opened Pane. That was my circle of friends. We used to tease them, please open something Italian. There's nowhere decent to go. Finally did. And then I was running restaurants and part of a larger restaurant group while we were honing our skills, getting ready to open a restaurant. So we had planned for about 9 years when we first got engaged to open, and it was a good thing. We just weren't ready. We didn't have the funding. So we, in the meantime, worked for American Restaurant Group. Spectrum Foods was a division of ARG, and learned quite a bit about running Italian restaurants, but also running the business side, which is where a lot of my acumen falls in. Where a lot of people make mistakes. You can be a great cook, you can be a great chef, have super great hospitality, wine knowledge, but if you don't know how to run a business, because restaurants are first and foremost businesses. It's not just glamour, it's very hard business. I also like to say it's like pre-production for film or theater. So much, in fact, almost the majority of the work goes into pre-production, I call it. What happens before the curtain raises or the camera rolls, that's when your service starts. So all of those things that go into the preparation, that's not only our experience, but our amazing team. We have an amazing team of people. Our chef de cuisine and his wife met working with us here. She was training to be pastry pasta chef, and they fell in love. They were trying to keep it on the sly for months. And one day I just said to him, "Oh, Leo, you and Guido are such a beautiful couple." Well, this is many years So we since helped with weddings, their girls' baptisms. Their girls are now, I think, 11 and 13. And we have 2 other families like that work with us here that have been with us since the beginning.
Yeah,
Great.
Claudia, pastry chef, she was the first employee in 1999. She still worked with us and she supervised a lot of area. Mostly is the fresh pasta and the pastry.
Great. Those are beautiful stories, and I know you guys were embraced pretty immediately by the community, and have continued to be. So we'll come back to you in a little bit and talk a little bit more about how things are going now and some of the changes you've made. But now let's go to Guido, Oppizzi. Guido, you're from Italy as well. You could have gone anywhere in the world to open a restaurant. How did you decide to come to Santa Barbara and open on State Street?
So yeah, I have a different accent from Alberto simply because I'm coming from northern Italy and not from this beautiful region that Sicily is. I love it. And my town is Pavia, is very close to Milan in north of Italy. I moved to California and in the US in 2016. So I'm basically a newcomer. And initially I moved in the Sacramento area, supposing to open my restaurant in that region. Then by the chance I was traveling with my wife for leisure in Southern California. I came by Santa Barbara. I discovered it and I fell in love. So I started looking for a new location here in town. And after a while, I discovered this spot available, and it was a pretty long project, but at the end, we have been able to open here. So I relocated to Santa Barbara in March 19, just a few months before opening the door of the restaurant. My background is totally different. I spent my life as a business consultant and IT director for multinational companies, so nothing to do with restoration and restaurant business. But as happened quite frequently, my company got a merger. So I've been forced to reinvent myself. My daughter was already here in California, and I said, why not? Actually, in my past life, I used to travel a lot across Europe and the United States every year. And I was observing how, despite there are a lot of Italian restaurants everywhere, is very, very difficult, as Alberto said before, to find a real authentic expression of the Italian cuisine, because everything is very Americanized in most of the cases, very loaded, and that is not really the authentic Italian cuisine. So in other cases, the food that are offered and the dishes are coming from the 50s, the 60s, and as really, let's say, outdated, are not reflecting anymore a concept of a modern Italian cuisine. So when you find on the menu still vodka penne, for instance, that were very popular in the 60s or in the 70s, but nowadays is almost impossible to find in a restaurant in Italy. There are other examples of a food like Alfredo sauce. This is not Italian at all, but you don't know how many people are coming at the restaurant and say, "Oh, I don't see the Alfredo sauce on your menu." No, I don't have it.
Americans
my
love that.
My intention,
love that creamy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, my intention is to offer an authentic experience of the Italian cuisine. And when I say authentic expression of Italian cuisine or presentation of Italian cuisine, it doesn't mean to be sticking on a specific recipe, but to the principle of the Italian cuisine. As Alberto mentioned before, is made of a simply and high quality ingredient, usually just a few 4, 5, 6 ingredients and most on a dish. Otherwise, it's no more an Italian food. You know, the cuisine is the expression of the culture of a country and its history. And as you know, after the Roman Empire fall and the Middle Age, Italy has been split in a large number of small independent towns and countries. And each one was developing its own culture, and I was leveraging the resources available in the small area. And that has created a diversity of offer of ingredients in the market and they increase the quality over the time. And that is what makes very particular the Italian cuisine. There is an anecdote about President Charles de Gaulle that once was asked how difficult it was to manage a nation like France. He said, "Oh, you know, when you in a country you have 265 different kind of cheese, you can imagine how difficult it is to manage." So in Italy, we have registered different kind of cheese. There are 487. So almost the double, almost the double. And you can find a specialty in every kind of ingredient. So the characteristic of the Italian cuisine, the authentic Italian cuisine, is to get these unique items put together and exploit as much as possible their flavor. So no high processing, no high condiment. That is what I really want to bring here.
And you have some unique, I remember when you first opened, you had some pretty unique dishes that I hadn't seen on many Italian restaurants. There was like certain black rice dishes, things like that. I mean, explain some of the more unique things you're serving.
Absolutely. As I mentioned before, the black rice, for instance, is a typical example of innovation that is occurring over the time in the Italian cuisine. Black rice we use is riso venere, is imported from nearby my region, is from the cultivation area between Vercelli and Pavia, very close to my town. And this is an hybrid that is being created between a local Italian rice and a Chinese rice. And it is amazing because it's very rich in flavor, very rich in antioxidants, so it's very healthy. And we prepare steamed, and we add on top some other ingredient. All of them are always not processed. So there is a stracciatella cheese, tomato, cherry tomatoes, or some pesto or something like that. And there is a little bit of, fancy stuff. It is served in a bottle, cut horizontally in place of a regular plate. That makes just a little bit different. And the same are for the warm salad. We serve in the jar to preserve the temperature and the mixing of the flavor. Also in this case are non-conventional, but they're always based on the same principle. Few ingredient, low process. So they are very healthy, very fresh. And it is our idea. For the pizza, the situation is totally different. We offer a gourmet pizza. The crust is very particular, as the pie takes a 24-hour proofing. It's a slow fermentation process that makes the pizza very soft inside and crispy on the surface. And moreover, I think we are for sure the only one in Santa Barbara, probably the only one in all Southern California to offer the black dough. That is made with addition of a vegetable activated charcoal derived from coconut shells. It doesn't alter the flavor, but it's changed a little bit at the fermentation process. So the crust is a little bit more crispy than the white one. And it tastes good, absolutely, and is becoming more and more popular. More so people are asking for that.
And have you found that that Santa Barbara diners are ready to embrace these dishes as well? I like to think of us as being creative eaters. I don't know how it goes on a broad scale, but what are you finding?
Sorry, I didn't catch exactly your question.
Are Santa Barbara diners loving these dishes? Are they interested in trying?
Yeah. I have to say, in the very first beginning, they were very reluctant, and it was surprising me because I said, "Oh, California should be very open-minded and open to explore novelties." Actually, I discovered a lot of people were much more conservative on food than I expected. Just to give an idea, in the very first beginning, we were offering some sample of our pizza on the front door, and we got the white dough and the black dough. The white dough plate were empty very quickly. The black dough was remaining there because people were reluctant to taste it, were scared. You know? And once they started tasting it, then do not go back. I can tell you, there's plenty of people that are just coming here for getting the black dough.
Great. Well, that's good to hear that
And
we're
the same is for some other food like the black rice and other stuff. On top of this, obviously, in the beginning, my menu was much more limited and more focusing on these extremely innovative items. But I had so many people on the door that were asking, "Do you have pasta? Do you serve pasta?" No, we don't. So, and they were running away. So I've been forced to introduce pasta, and over the time, okay, I have to accept it. And also in this case, we try to offer a different experience. For instance, we make pasta with pesto, and we use troffie that are imported from Italy. And unfortunately, in these days, we are struggling because of the shortage at the vendor because of the difficulties in the logistics distribution in this time. But it is prepared with pesto and with green beans and potato, exactly like they do in Genoa, where the pasta with pesto is poured. Also, this is pretty uncommon. People look at the beginning and say, "Oh, green beans in pasta? Yes, it's much better than chicken, actually." I have to say.
That's great. Cool. Well, we'll come back to you and see how you handle the pandemic, and we'll also talk about some of these supply chain issues that I hear are really starting to rear their heads right now. But let's come back to Elaine and Alberto. How did you guys at Olio weather the pandemic storm? And I know you changed that crudo concept to the Bottega, which I love, and I think a lot of people love. But tell us some of the stuff that you did during the darkest days and how things are going now.
Well, the darkest days, we decided to completely shut down at the initial stay-at-home order last March because, of course, COVID was so much more unknown. We didn't know how it spread. There were no vaccines yet, and we just decided it was best for our staff in particular, to not try to pivot immediately to takeout delivery. And my hat's off to those restaurants that were able to do that. We did do a slow incremental reopening starting mid-May. Started with takeout only through the pizzeria. I had just my lead server and I were running all the orders. Alberto was running the food from the kitchen. Several of our key kitchen staff came back. And that was the whole process. And all during that time, people would ask, then we could do outdoor seating in June, at the end of May, June for pizzeria. All that time I was trying to reopen Limone, and it took much longer than we thought. So I was envious of those restaurateurs who only had one restaurant to reopen. We had 2.5, 3. The Crudo Bar, of course, a 22-seat, dining lounge, it really was a victim of COVID because, as you know, bars and lounges were the last to be able to reopen. And Alberto was critical of this reimagining the Crudo Bar into the Bottega. And we love it, guests love it. It's not really a moneymaker, but I think we're breaking it with the labor. But it's a lot of fun, and we did finally get to reopen Limone. We're open lunch and dinner. Pizzeria just from 4 o'clock, and we haven't been able to reopen Mondays yet at all because of staffing. So that's still an ongoing challenge. Do you want to talk more about Bottega?
Yes, I mean, Bottega, it's for us Italian, it's the general store where you as a kid stop in the morning to get a little panino with mozzarella or whatever, condiments, salami, or prosciutto, and you go to school. That's our lunch snack. Because sometimes we eat like around 1 o'clock in Italy, most family. I mean, at least in my days when I was young. So it's some kind of nostalgic. Every Italian kid loved the Bottega because that's where you hang out for buying chocolate and candy and wherever. But we had this small space. Crudo is a fantastic idea. It's not dead, it's hibernated somewhere. So I keep it like that. In the meantime, when we were shut off, come up with just putting this nice decoration. The camouflage, as you can see underneath, is still the Crudo, the yellow wall, the fine decoration. We made it more like a cutesy place that you can find in San Gimignano, Florence, or anywhere in Italy, basically. And now you can have a nice focaccia sandwich with very fine salumi and cheeses. And we have some hot sandwiches, some cold sandwich. We just had another one with a nice thin ribeye, very quarter-inch thick, and it's delicious. We have vegetarian sandwich, we have lasagna, we have salad. There's a little bit for everybody, for the vegan, for the vegetarian. So it's a good quality product. You can see the outside on the beautiful patio. We have a great selection of Italian ingredients, like all the condiments and red tomato, artichoke, ventresca, which is a tuna from the belly of the tuna. It's the top of the line. It's the equivalent of the toro in the Japanese cuisine. Particular olive oil, vinegar. I mean, things you don't find on the regular supermarket. So it's a really fun. We also do a little bit of breakfast in the morning. We have eggs, we have coffee, cappuccino, espresso, and nice orange juice from Sicily. And there is a little bit for everybody. So it's exciting. Actually, I think it's a little more work than a restaurant, believe it or not, because you have to deal with all these items that come from different companies. And like I said, you know, we start to see a little bit of shortage here and there, but so far we've been able to manage it.
I actually did a good amount of my Christmas shopping there last year because it was, you know, I like buying people food and stuff that they can enjoy and consume, and it was a great spot for that. So, in
fact, last year we did quite a lot of basket, believe it or not. We were not prepared, but people start to ask, can you have a basket? So all of a sudden, you know, you gotta get all the gear up and buy the basket and all the things you need to wrap around. And this year already, we have some order coming in and people want a Christmas basket with all the Italian goods, along with the wine or whatever they like, because we have the wine list from Olio, Limone and the Pizzeria. So there is plenty of items to choose.
right. But it sounds like, I mean, we talked about this a little bit before the show, and Guido started to get into it. Since we're talking to you, might as well start with you guys. I mean, while some of the health concerns are finally starting to wane, at least in Santa Barbara County in California and that sort of stuff, you're now dealing with staffing issues and supply chain issues. So why don't you explain, give us the quick 101 on, I mean, staffing issues, I think we can kind of understand, but I don't know, explain that to us. Why now of all times is it being difficult to staff places and get some of the basic items you need?
Well, staffing wise, it's multi-pronged. You know, there were a lot of people who tended to blame the enhanced unemployment benefits. I think that played a role during the time that those were available. I don't blame the issue solely on that. I tend to think it was about a third. About another third was people rethinking their careers and moving on to different industries. My experience was particularly that second shutdown was what solidified it for a lot of people. First shutdown, reopening, I think everyone was very hopeful and excited, and the talk of vaccines coming that weren't out yet, but it just seemed like, okay, we're going forward. Then to have to shut down again to takeout only, which it's not viable for a full service restaurant. I tried to keep Limone open for takeout only. It lasted 2 days. So then all the Limone staff had to go off again. And I was only able to keep a bare bones staff at Pizzeria to facilitate takeout until we could reopen for outdoor dining only again end of January. So after that shutdown, we lost 2 more key people because they thought, okay, what they did was they moved back out of the area where they're from, where the parents could be with their kids, their grandkids, and looking into different careers. So, and then the second reopening, we had a great summer, but it was really hard because we're understaffed. Everyone's super busy because the world wants to get out. They've been vaccinated, they feel confident. We're a hub, a visitor hub. So I find myself still, I have to block a lot of my tables in my online reservation system because I don't have enough staff to accommodate the demand, which is really interesting. We've never experienced. And then supply chain issues, we're already seeing, huge, besides the shortages that are starting to come, and I don't think we've seen the worst yet, huge, inflationary costs, pressures on labor and supplies costs, food, wine, everything. And that's just hard to keep up with. It's hard to make a projection. What's that going to look like in 6 months? I have no idea. Do you? I mean, it's big.
But it also has been very.
I wish we did, right?
Been very exhausting. What people don't realize is the fact that we've been building patio outside, getting the gazebo mounted. This things is like, when you get furniture from IKEA, they come all packed. and it takes hours to put these things up, and the lighting and the umbrella and the heaters. And it's like when you open a new restaurant. Then when you shut off the restaurant, you get rid of all the food you have there. Even, because how long can you keep, even if it's fresh or frozen, whatever it is, just you have to get rid of it. We give it to the employee when we shut off, but some stuff, great stuff, great food. But then when you reopen again, you have to start all over. Everything is empty. The refrigerator empty. The line has to be prepared, and it's tremendous effort on everybody. And us, in particular, the provider, you have to handle all these expenses. We've been spending like so much in propane every month. Everybody pretty much want their own heater outside, and at the end of the month, that adds to the cost. So where is that going to come out? From the main or pasta or a salad? Everything has to be included in that because that's the way it is.
Luckily, there's
have this thing outside, and we hope that they're going to keep it for a while, at least to make it worthwhile the expense with it, because the city, we don't know where they're going in that way.
And the fact that many guests feel more comfortable dining outdoors. We have a lot of guests who feel very comfortable indoors. We have great circulation, extra HEPA filters, doors open. We're still doing some distancing, tables, but some guests want to dine outdoors. And I understand that too. Everyone has different sensibilities, and people are higher risk. So I know that Robin on the State Street Commission and everyone's been working really positively in that regard. We need to really retain as much outdoor dining as possible, and for longer than, I believe it was extended September of 22, or is it 23 now? I've forgotten. But the longer the better.
Right. It's a work in progress, but it was it's currently until March of next year, and then it looks like it's going to be extended beyond that.
Okay, fingers crossed.
And that's one of the things we've heard repeatedly on the show, and just living it in person. Of all the towns that needed outdoor seating more than anyone in maybe the world, it was Santa Barbara, and so finally we got it. It's going to be hard to put that genie back in the bottle, because it really is a genie that's going to keep paying dividends for the years to come, I think, too. Let's go over to Guido now. And Guido, tell us a little bit about how you handled COVID and how you shifted some of your business, and then tell us some about the stuff you're dealing with now too, with some of the supply chain. You kind of hinted at it, so.
So I don't want to be repetitive, but my experience is not far away from Alberto's one, actually. The first lockdown surprised us in some way. We were totally unprepared, if you want, because, for instance, I never managed deliveries. I'm firmly convinced that if you want to taste a good food, you have to sit at a table nearby the kitchen where it is prepared, not waiting that somebody taking a paper box the food at your home. So when the first shutdown occurred last year in March, we activated for the first time delivery service. Actually, we were a newcomer on the market, a newcomer on this portal, so the volume were very, very low. And after a couple of weeks, I decided to completely close and not go ahead with serving. As we reopen, sorry. Oh, okay. As the lockdown was lifted, and we have been allowed to reopen outdoor on the State Street Promenade. That would be great, really amazing for us, because they gave us really the chance to restart our business. And it was not tremendous, but it was extremely important. We made in the first beginning some limited investment, because we were not confident how much the situation could last. And actually, after a few months, we stepped down in another lockdown in December last year. From this year, obviously the situation is different. We have more clarity about the future vision for the State Street, so we got a chance to sorry, this side, the patio on my back side here, we made it much nicer and much more stable, and can accommodate a good number of customers, almost the same number that we used to have indoor. That is absolutely allow us to survive during the summer. The major challenge, as Elaine has mentioned, it was having staff, of course, preparing the food and serving guests. You do not have any idea, after months and months where we were praying to see a customer to come in or to have an order coming in, because being forced to say, sorry, I cannot sit you because I cannot give you the service is really, really painful for us. But that's happened quite frequently. Even last week on Sunday, I've been forced to close because I didn't get anyone at the pasta station. The cook we got called sick, and I've been forced to close the restaurant. That is unbelievable. In this time, find staff is the major challenge. On top of what we discussed about the supply chain issues that are impacting us. So I have to say, first of all, I'm so tremendously grateful to the US government and the state of California for all the financial support they provided us during this time with the PPP. Without that money, we would absolutely not able to survive. Absolutely. So that is the first thing I'm absolutely grateful. Now we are in condition to go ahead, and we hope that we do not step back in another upstick in the COVID curve. That's why I'm absolutely supportive for a vaccination. I ask to all my employees to be vaccinated. If they're not vaccinated, they cannot work with me. I'm sorry, but I take so seriously care of my coworkers and my customer health that I cannot take any risk. Last year, in September, I've been closed for 10 days because 2 of my coworkers on the same day feel sick. They didn't get COVID, but I've been closed until I got a negative response of their COVID test. That was 10 days. At that time, it was take longer than today. So, but I prefer to be closed and accumulate additional loss on a critical situation than to put at risk my coworker health and my customer, of course. So now I'm asking everybody to be vaccinated. We have a table indoor, and I have also in this case, I invite my customer, if they are not fully vaccinated, to opt for the outdoor seating. That is safer for everybody. We will see what is going to happen, because you know that in several areas in a different county are already imposing a vaccination for entering in a restaurant, like in San Francisco, in the Bay Area, now in LA. Maybe we need to wait for the mayoral election to have a similar initiative in Santa Barbara, because nobody wants to take any decision right now, but it's something that we have to keep into consideration. The patio, the State Street will be our vehicle for surviving. It is our essential weapon. I'm so thankful also to Robin and all Downtown Santa Barbara organization for what they are doing. The market, the promenade market we have outside in just today, for instance, for us is essential, because State Street over the last years is becoming more and more a ghost town. I mean, you know, in this block we have more empty spots than occupied one. And if we do not create attractiveness for the area, people will not work here and they will not come to our restaurant. So thanks so much to Downtown Santa Barbara for that.
Well, it seems like I mean, before the pandemic, we were writing stories frequently in the Independent about the death of State Street, et cetera, et cetera. But then with the pandemic and the shutting down of cars and bringing life back to it, I mean, it's kind of one of the major benefits, at least for this region of the pandemic, which is a funny thing to say, but it did bring life back to State Street for sure. And so hopefully that energy continues. Elaine and Alberto, I mean, there's only so much you can do about supply chain issues, but staffing seems like something you might be able to, as a restaurant community, somehow address. I mean, are there ideas being floated around as to how to better foster more of a restaurant staff around Santa Barbara, or is that just kind of something you're also kind of just at the whims of other people when it comes to solving that problem?
In our case, for those, we haven't lost a lot of people, but just losing like 2 front of house that that needed to add at least 1. That means, you know, some shifts aren't properly staffed. So it's not as dire, you know, it's not that dire, but it also vacillates in terms of networking with other restaurants. It's more, you know, we have staff here that work at other restaurants. That's how we found a couple of good people. Because it's also difficult to, you know, we don't want to bring in the wrong person to our team to disrupt not just the business, but to disrupt the cohesiveness and the happy. We have a great team. Everyone works well together. There's a lot of respect, a lot of looking out for one another. You know, everyone is pitching in, moving umbrellas, heaters, switching out propane tanks, all in mass. So, you know, it's not an easy job. Everyone knows it's a tough job. I think a lot of the professional cooks, chefs, and front of house are in it to stay. And then again, there's just people who are changing careers or moving out of the area. So I'm not sure what the exact answer is. I think for us, one of the keys is to not try to reopen Mondays or lunch Pizzeria just yet. I think we have our hands full, and it's good to stay conservative and not push to have 3 places open 7 days a week, you know, day and night. So that's kind of how we're getting it for now.
Does it get any easier now that UCSB is back? I mean, does that bring in some potential staff or not necessarily?
So much, because the positions are more, you know, longer term experience.
Professional, yeah.
Honestly, we're kind of doing a server / lead. We don't have hosts right now, and I think that it's a real tough position with, you know, guests. We don't have the vaccine mandate yet, but it's probably coming. I can't imagine what that's going to be like, because most people are completely supportive, but we are that visitor hub. People are coming from all over. We don't know where they're coming from, and some people are really angry to be asked to put a mask on. And imagine when they have to start showing that they're vaccinated. So I think that I'd rather have us with our more trained long professionals handling that, because you can't just put a 19-year-old student at the door and expect her to be able to field all those things from the guests.
Right. Let's end on a delicious note. Guido, if I was to come in your restaurant tonight, what dish would you recommend and serve to me?
So there are I would say two options. The first one is on the pizza side, and is not just in honor of Alberto, but my favorite pizza is Sicilia pizza. It is a pizza with raw tuna, pickled onions, pistachios, and mustard, honey mustard sauce. Is delicious. When you make it in your mouth, is an explosion of flavor that mix together, and is really the pizza I love the most. And as I said, it's Sicilia, dedicated to Sicily. And if you want something lighter, then the Portofino rice in the bottle is one of my favorite light foods. Is the black rice with stracciatella cheese, pesto, cherry tomatoes. Is very light and very tasteful. And as last, if you want more protein on your dish, then we have our grilled salmon that is served on a bed of black rice with grilled mixed vegetables and a pesto and cream sauce. It is really delicious.
That sounds great. I'll take all 3.
I stay for seeing you tonight.
Really good.
All right, Elaine and Alberto, what are you serving me tonight? What are some dishes that I would be ordering if I came to your restaurant tonight?
Are you going there?
Go ahead.
I would go to a starter, the guatetta. It's a wonderful all seafood and a spicy tomato broth favorite. And any of our seafood dishes.
Also, we have a couple dishes from Crudo Bar that now is serving at Limone, like the amashi carpaccio. And then we have also the tuna tartare. So those two dishes from the crudo are now available at Olio Limone. On the Bottega side, basically I'm in favor of the homemade porchetta, which is a pork belly roulade filled with the herbs. And then we serve on the focaccia bread with pecorino, which is a young pecorino pepato, pepper, young pecorino cheese, and has bell peppers and a little bit of squeeze of a lemon. So that's like very earthy, it's very Roman dish. You know, you find that mostly on Sante at the piazza. So that's available at the Olio Bottega. Of course, we have also the eggplant parmesan, the classic Parma fare sandwich. There is the others, vegetable, the classic caprese, and a lot of good beers.
And at the pizzeria, we would serve you the calamari al negro, the squid ink calamari, which is a favorite. Like Guido said, people see it at first, it's black, they're afraid of
They're
it.
scared.
But once you try, just a hint of that nice minerally smooth flavor of the sea. We serve it with the lemon aioli. And then I'd say the umbra pizza is a favorite at the pizzeria as well. So cremini mushrooms, truffle oil, it's a favorite.
And of course, with the budino at the end, which butterscotch pudding that everybody drinks with a straw.
I
Great.
think that's officially stuffed now.
Yeah, I guess I'm going to be full for a while. Well, that's great. I love to leave on a delicious note here. Robin, they've answered all my questions. Do you have any more for them?
Oh, I think that all really sounds good. I think I probably will just switch and introduce the next show unless there's anything else, Guido, Elaine, or Alberto, you want to just make sure that folks know about your restaurants.
Well, I think follow us on Instagram, Olio Santa Barbara, Olio Bottega Santa Barbara. Also, I wanted to mention the upcoming arts district that we're all forming for this region of downtown Santa Barbara, and that's really exciting. So keep an eye out for more of that. It's not finalized yet, but we have the committee and your help, thank you, and Tim and Eric getting that launched, and that's up and coming, and we're very excited about that.
And for those that are listening to us right now, I would recommend to support your local restaurant and business because it's been very hard with the closure of the theater. We have 3 beautiful theater here around us. And it's, you know, if the shows, they don't go on, we miss the seating, people come early in time to go to the show. So when a restaurant doesn't have that, especially this time of the year when, the tourist is a little more on the low season, we need the local people to support the restaurant because landlord, they're not forgiving anything, they expect the rent. But anyway, on the other note, yes, we are here to provide good experience for the patrons.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it's time to all go out to dinner. Guido, anything last words you'd like to share?
Oh, yeah, just first of all, to thank you all of you for also for this event. And as Alberto said, to us it's critical for restaurants like our one. It's critical to build a robust set of customers that are really local. I do not neglect tourists because obviously they are a relevant component of our business. But it is so nice to interact with a returning customer, loyal customer that know you, that you know their preferences, you know which wine, and we have an incredible selection of Italian wines they prefer, and is spending time talking to them. That is the most enjoyable part of our job, and I believe is really what we need. Now we have this expanded patio is absolutely safe, and we have heaters and a lot of propane that we go to take every time. And every season, we are blessed here in Santa Barbara that basically all year around you can sit even outdoor if you are more comfortable, or even inside. And for everybody, that would be a great night. We also have I remember the one Wednesday. Every Wednesday we have a special night. We offer discounted wine and live music. And on Thursday, of course, we have the Promenade Market just here in front of our restaurant. And usually we have live music just beside us. So 2 days for enjoying the restaurant.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for sharing so much insight about your restaurants and your life, your business, and supporting our community. I want to switch gears, share a little bit about what's happening next week. So next week at 3, we will be speaking with Maureen Riley from Riley's Flowers, and Joey Dudridge and Lindsay Farrell from Mountain Air Sports. Charles Donnellan's going to be our host for that one. And I think there's something else very special starting next week. Matt, do you want to talk about the best of?
Yeah, that episode is tied to our Best of Santa Barbara issue, which has been going on for a long time, and it's our biggest issue of the year. It's always got a lot of reader buzz and community buzz, and it's all based on reader votes. We had more than about 10,000 people cast more than 450,000 votes this year, which is crazy, in 204 categories, which is crazy. And Charles Donnellan wrote the whole thing this year, so you got to give him an applause when he gets on the show next week, because that's a mammoth task. And he just finished, actually. An email came through as we were doing this show, so congratulations to him. And it'll be a fun show.
Do you want to share too about the scavenger hunt?
That's right. And yeah, to coincide with Best of Santa Barbara, we're doing a scavenger hunt, which is kind of a trivia-based timed hunt over the weekend. So look at the paper for details on that, and our website, obviously independent.com. It should be fun. It's going to be a fun community way to get people around town and learn about Santa Barbara and win some prizes as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, our organization is also a proud sponsor of that scavenger hunt. It's such a fun way this year to highlight all of these winners. So you actually find out where they all are and kind of hop around and learn things along the way. So we're super excited about that. We also have our first Thursday event coming up in November. So that is back. If you haven't been part of it yet, it's every first Thursday, live music, wine, and great local art showing at up to 30 different venues around town. So the next one is November. First Thursday in November is the 4th. So look forward to that. State Street Promenade Market is happening now and every Thursday from 3 to 7:30, and now we start to get into the darker times of the evening, and we have all of our really cool lights coming back and music as well, and we've also added some food to it. So hope to see you all out at that, and thanks so much. Matt, anything else to share before we do our send-off?
No, go eat great Italian food.
That sounds good. I'm hungry. Let's do it. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.